6 years ago, I met Clara, a woman who seemed to embody everything I'd ever dreamed of in a partner. She was compassionate, intelligent, with a laugh that could light up the darkest room. We were 23 and 22, navigating the messy transition from college to adulthood, and our connection felt like fate. For 4 years, our relationship blossomed through late-night talks, shared adventures, and quiet moments that made the world feel smaller, safer. On a crisp autumn evening during our third year together, I proposed under a canopy of stars at a lakeside cabin in the Blue Ridge Mountains. She said yes, her voice trembling with joy, and we began planning a wedding for the following spring, April 12th. My closest friend, Ethan, had been a constant in my life since we were teenagers. We'd weathered countless milestones together, graduations, heartbreaks, job losses. He was the guy who'd drop everything to help me move, who'd lent me cash when I was scraping by, who'd even driven across state lines to check on my dad when I was recovering from knee surgery. Ethan and Clara clicked effortlessly, their banter a comforting backdrop to our shared moments. I saw it as a gift, a sign that my future wife and my best friend could coexist in harmony. Looking back, I wonder if I was too naive to see the cracks forming. Wedding preparations consumed us. We secured a stunning venue, a sprawling manor with ivy-clad walls, and a garden that seemed plucked from a fairy tale. We hired a string quartet, and Clara's parents insisted on a custom cake from a renowned patisserie in Raleigh, a towering confection that cost nearly as much as my car payment. As the date approached, Clara began moving her belongings into my apartment, our lives intertwining in tangible ways. Her books on my shelves, her clothes in my closet. It felt like the start of forever. The week before the wedding, I was sent to a work conference 2 hours away. I'd planned to return Wednesday evening, but late Tuesday night, I realized I'd forgotten my phone charger at home. With a critical presentation looming, I decided to drive back, arriving at our apartment around midnight. The silence was heavy as I stepped inside, but something felt off. A pair of unfamiliar sneakers, men's not mine, not Clara's brothers, sat by the door. My stomach churned, but I told myself there was an explanation. Maybe her cousin was crashing on the couch. I moved quietly toward the bedroom, my heart pounding. The door was ajar. In the dim glow of a bedside lamp, I saw them, Clara and Ethan, tangled in the sheets of the bed where we'd spent countless nights dreaming of our future. The same bed where, just weeks earlier, Clara had traced the outline of her engagement ring with a smile that made my chest ache. They froze when they saw me, Clara's gasp slicing through the silence, Ethan's face drained of color. I didn't scream or curse. I just turned, walked out, and let the door slam behind me. I drove aimlessly until dawn, eventually parking outside my dad's house. I couldn't bring myself to go inside, to explain the unexplainable. My phone buzzed relentlessly. Missed calls from Clara, Ethan, her parents, her sister. Texts flooded in, a chorus of excuses. It was a mistake. She's just nervous about the wedding. You can't throw this all away. The most absurd came from her mother. The cake's already paid for, sweetheart. Think about what you're doing. I didn't respond. I couldn't. The image of them together burned behind my eyes, and no amount of frosting could sweeten that betrayal. 2 days later, I texted Clara that the wedding was canceled, and I'd return her ring by mail. Her family's reaction was a whirlwind of indignation. Her father called, his voice thick with judgment. You're tossing away 4 years over one slip-up. That's more selfish than what she did. Her sister claimed it was just a moment, that nothing serious had happened. I blocked their numbers one by one, as their words piled up like debris. The real gut punch came a week later, over beers with another friend, Lucas. He'd been distant during the wedding planning, and I'd chalked it up to his busy schedule. But that night, he confessed he'd been carrying a secret. Clara and Ethan's affair wasn't a one-time lapse. It had been going on for nearly a year, starting at Clara's birthday party the previous spring. Lucas had walked in on them kissing in her apartment after the guests left. He thought it was a drunken mistake, but months later, he saw them together again, sneaking off during a group camping trip. He hadn't told me, hoping they'd end it before the wedding. They hadn't. They'd just gotten better at hiding it. Clara's late-night study sessions, for her master's program? Ethan was her study partner. The weekend she said she was helping her mom redecorate. She was at a hotel with him. I texted Ethan, my hands shaking, demanding answers. His response was pathetic. I didn't mean for it to get this far. You're still my brother. Brother. The word felt like a blade. This was the man who'd stood beside me at our engagement party, toasting to my happiness, all while betraying me in ways I couldn't fathom. I blocked him, canceled the venue, the quartet, the honeymoon, losing deposits but gaining freedom from a lie I'd almost married. 6 months passed, each day a battle to rebuild. Therapy helped me untangle the shame and anger, but the silence was harder. Friends vanished, unwilling to navigate the fallout. Some kept Clara in their lives, as if her betrayal was a minor footnote. I felt like a ghost, haunting my own memories. Every moment with Clara and Ethan became suspect. Had they been together that weekend we all went hiking? Were they smirking at me during the surprise party they planned for my 26th birthday? The questions gnawed at me, but one voice anchored me, my little sister Mia. Mia had never warmed to Clara. I'd always thought it was just her protective streak, but after the breakup, she told me she'd noticed things I hadn't. Clara's smile was different around Ethan, she said. Too bright, too forced. And he'd never look at you when she was nearby. Mia's words were a lifeline, a reminder that I hadn't been entirely blind, just too trusting. The original wedding date arrived like a storm cloud. I took the day off, silenced my phone, and went fishing with my dad, a ritual we'd shared since I was a kid. He didn't pry, but as we sat by the lake, he handed me an envelope. Your mom left this, he said. She wrote it for your wedding day. My mother had died 2 years earlier, and the sight of her handwriting undid me. In the letter, she wrote that love should be a sanctuary, never a source of doubt. If it hurts more than it heals, it's not love, it's a trap. Run, and don't look back. I sobbed, alone in my apartment that night, but her words were a balm, a permission to keep moving forward. 3 months after the canceled wedding, I got a message from a stranger named Emily, Ethan's ex-girlfriend. We met at a diner, and she revealed that Ethan's betrayal extended beyond me. He'd been seeing Clara while dating Emily, and after the wedding fell apart, she found texts and photos on his phone. Worse, he'd done this before, targeting women in relationships for the thrill of conquest. Clara wasn't special to him. She was just another piece in his game. I didn't know if Clara had realized this yet, but I hoped she would someday. The turning point came at my cousin's wedding, 4 months after my own was supposed to happen. I almost skipped it, but Mia pushed me to go, insisting I couldn't let Clara and Ethan's choices define me. Clara was there, her presence like a shadow. She looked diminished, her usual radiance dulled. We crossed paths at the reception, and after a moment of awkward silence she spoke. You look well, she said softly. I didn't respond. I don't expect forgiveness, she continued. But Ethan left me 2 weeks after you did. I thought we had something real. I was wrong. Her voice cracked, but I felt no urge to comfort her. You weren't wrong, I said, my tone steady. You chose someone who plays with people's lives, and you went along with it. Her eyes welled up, but I didn't waver. You didn't lose everything, Clara. You gave it up. There's a difference. I set down my glass and walked away, the weight of her gaze fading behind me. Now, nearly a year later, I'm in a new city with a new job, dipping my toes into dating again. Trust comes slower these days, but I trust myself more than ever. Losing Clara and Ethan was a wound, but it taught me something vital. You don't beg for people who aren't begging to be in your life. No cake, no matter how exquisite, is worth the cost of swallowing betrayal. I walked away, and I've never regretted it.